Working in law enforcement, naturally, I not only appreciate his service to protect our community, but to go above and beyond and bring people together. And what I mean by that is, in my first year in Sacramento, it was quite the experience. There was never a shortage of a crisis. There was a crisis in just about everything: wildfire, housing, water. You shout something out, and it's a crisis in California. But one of those is the future of technology in this state. And there's no denying that the tech world has, and it will continue to change our world, to change our state. And it's boosted and altered our economy, especially in California. It has changed our personal lives for good or for worse. And I mention technology because I commend Chief Westrick's willingness to use tech and to use social media. To use social media. And clearly we all have opinions of social media. And I'm sure the opinions we all share vary. And we all feel very differently of social media. But the appropriate and the inappropriate role of social media today, the benefits, the consequences that social media has had and will continue to have in our state, and more importantly, in our local communities. And according to Pew Research Center, more and more Americans are getting their news and community information from social media platforms, which is a good thing, but it's also a very scary thing. So a lot of that information is inaccurate.
Yes.
Again, I mention this because I commend Chief Westrick's effort to use social media in his role as police chief, but to use it in a way that connected our community. Used it in a way that brought people together, and always used social media in a positive, thoughtful way. And he used it and set a positive example for all of us. And prior to my time in the Assembly, I was a discipline manager at San Diego High School, and I saw the inappropriate use of social media among students. And to have our police chief set that positive example is a very, very good thing, and I commend him for that. And so on behalf of the state of California and the California legislature, I present Chief Westrick with this resolution to wish him well in retirement, and hope he doesn't go too far, because we certainly need him around San Diego County. Chief.
Right.
Well, I'll try not to say too much stuff off color, but some of you know that I used to put on the rally here for a few years, and I worked with the fine Chief Miller and enjoyed my time with him. But I also got to work with the current chief, who's going out now, when I came and helped another guy put on the rally for a couple of years. I got to tell you, it was the best experience I ever had working with law enforcement. I didn't get arrested, which was but no, all kidding aside, I've put on events all over the United States, Richmond, Virginia, Florida, California, all over the state, and worked with rodeos, motorcycle shows, car shows, worked with probably 100 chiefs, not trying to brag, but you guys had a real diamond in the rough here. I'll tell you, he was an unbelievable guy, and I think the Assembly member said it so graciously, that the way he connected with the community was bar none. I've never seen anything like it before. And he was very approachable. I mean, the first time I met him, he gave me a cell phone. He's very sorry that now. I text him all the time. But like I said, he always had a professional face on, but always had an open heart and an open ear to whatever was going on. And so I now work for the treasurer, and I explained his role in this community, and she was blown away by it. I told her that he had some pretty tough shoes to fill with Chief Miller, and he did a super good job. And like I said, the rodeo work he does with junior rodeo, all the volunteering. I mean, I don't know how many of you have been a chief of police, but I imagine the hours that he puts in law enforcement, and then to donate his time the rest of the time, you know, he's really done a good job. So I just got this resolution, resolution from Fiona Ma, the treasurer of the state of California, wishing you a great retirement, and we appreciate your years of service. I wish you weren't leaving. Most people are old and gray and in a wheelchair. So I don't know why he's leaving. But.
Change my phone number too.
She insisted for me to set a big amount of time for her.
I'm Honor Spencer. I'm a city council member here, and I've been honored, no pun on the names, to work with Chief Westrick for the last year. Of course, I knew him on social media, which is not my platform. I am not a social media person, and I can't stand it. But as a city council, and I just want to say, you will be dearly missed. And I hope I see you a lot more around City Hall, out here, not over there. But you will be missed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I didn't come to speak, but of course I couldn't miss my opportunity to thank Dave for his professionalism and everything that he does for the city of Hollister. He really is the epitome of public servant. He has no attitude. He's just a good guy. You do have a command of social media. I don't read it, but what I do read, I know that you're very well respected on there. To get that respect from that segment is really good. I got to know Dave on Measure E and Measure W. This gentleman who came to my house every Wednesday for 5 months on Measure E. Every Wednesday, here comes the police chief, just as pleasant as can be. A lot of good ideas, a lot of outreach to the community, because he really hits a lot of different segments in the community. So he was a boon, of course, and he could get up, he could speak at those forums along with Jeff Miller. They were kind of the spokespersons, along with Mark Paxton. They worked together for all the forums. I just couldn't do that. So that was really a big help. But I really got to know him, love everything about you, and I know you're not going anywhere, so I look forward to working with you on whatever it might be in the future, okay? Thank you. Congratulations. It's a downtown merchant, so how can I?
It's okay, I'm not working anymore.
Oh, that's right.
So that's just a small token of our appreciation for everything.
Oh my gosh. Get out of here, man.
We're going to tour next year. My name is Bill. I had the good fortune to work with Dave for many years, the last 6, pretty closely and intimately. And I will say this: Robert couldn't have said it better if he tried. Nobody in this room, except probably a few people in the back and these folks over here, understand how difficult it is to run a good police department or a good operation, especially when we have events like Seth was talking about, the rally. We live 25, 30 minutes away from one of the most dangerous cities in the state of California, and we don't seem to get a lot of that overflow. And I think a lot of that is in part due to former Chief Miller, Westrick, and these gentlemen here. And I want to make sure that all you folks know that after Dave and the people that we have coming up behind them, we are going to live in a very safe and protected community. These guys all think relatively the same. They may have different sort of ways of conducting business, but ultimately, we know that their priority is our safety, and they're always going to make that number one. And I thank you. I mean, we can go on and on with stories about Tuesday mornings after council meetings. My speech totally changed when Honor and Carol showed up. We were going to talk bad shit about them. I'll be honest with you. Anyway, thank you very much for your tons of service, and thank you everybody for coming. This is it's really cool, and I believe thank you folks as well. So,
Thank you.
take care, man.
Chief, I have to say a couple words too. When I heard about your retirement, the only thing that kept going through my mind was, say it isn't so. Okay, you know, I'm happy for you. And I'm really happy that you have the guitar because I have a group that we could use you in. But if you have nothing better to do on Tuesday nights, give me a call. Anyway, you know, what makes a good police officer, good police chief, is, you know, of course, being a good officer, knowing the law, doing the right thing, honest and all that. But you kind of, you know, you have to go to that next level. You made it by all of the other attributes you have. Your diligence, well, everybody's mentioned it, but you have this competency about in the electronic world. And that makes you elevate. You brought something additional to the job. A lot of people can do what you did, perhaps, but you put it all together. You're a package deal. We're going to miss you. And I'm going to miss you. You know, he used to come over to my house late at nights before he was chief, and later on he assigned people to do that. So, you know, I didn't miss you when you elevated to that, but you know, you did keep me awake, so that's good. Appreciate that. Yeah. And we're going to miss you, but I'm going to see you in Rotary.
Yes.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeff Miller. I'm Dave's immediate predecessor.
Okay.
Dave and I have a pretty cool history. He was hired about 2 weeks before I was on the Hollister Police Department. I came in as a chief, and he came in as a police officer, fresh from Los Banos.
Redwood City.
From Redwood City, yeah. And then I got the joy of watching him promote up to sergeant, and then captain, and then become the chief. And that's kind of a cool thing for a chief to be able to do, is watch someone inside promote up. And I get the same joy watching now acting Chief Carlos Reynoso do the same thing. He was sergeant when I got there, but he promoted to captain, and now he's going to go up in the rank too. And that's good to see. It's good for the community. It's good for the department to have that kind of continuity. And I will tell you that the Hollister Police Department is loaded with lots of talent. There are a lot of dedicated officers who could serve anywhere, but they choose to be here. And they choose to be here for a reason, because this is a good community. I don't know too many cities that will have 2 former police chiefs still living in the community, but that's how much we like this community. That's how much it means to us. And I know it's meant a lot to Dave. So Dave, I congratulate you. Welcome to retirement. I will add this: you know you're old when you retire. You know you're really old when the guy who replaces you when you retire. You did a good job, and you deserve the rest. Appreciate it.
Hope the coffee's not too hot.
Thank you for giving me a moment to speak with you. I'm Sheriff here in Thompson, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight. And I'm principally here because I want to congratulate Chief Westrick for reaching the finish line. He and I were much older than we look. We started many, many years ago as separate agencies, but our careers have kind of paralleled each other over the years. And you have to be very adaptive to survive in this world of law enforcement. The needs of the community, the expectations of society change, and along with laws changing really frequently, and being adaptive is very critical. And Chief Westrick is a great example of that. When he started, which I think was 1988, 89, 90, yeah.
Don't make him older than he is.
But there weren't even computers. Now, and you can probably imagine how devastating that was to him in 1990. But trust me, he was able to perform very well back in the old school with pen and paper and a regular car. He probably couldn't now, but he's very adaptive. But he's been a tremendous partner to the sheriff's office. We've thoroughly enjoyed you being the chief. In our community, there are not a lot of resources here on the island of San Benito. We're cut off from a lot of the other areas around that have resources that, quite frankly, we just don't have here. And so it requires good partnerships and cooperation and a shared vision. And Chief Westrick and I have done just that for the last several years, and I'm truly going to miss him. And Chief, congratulations on reaching the finish line.
Thank you.
And my posse and I we have one request of you, if you would be so kind, but can you take a selfie with us?
That's so modern day. I find it because he always takes selfies of himself.
Who dresses up as the Grinch? Who do you think that is?
Hey everybody, my name is Jim Gilio. I have a unique perspective to talk to you about as a chief because in law enforcement we came up in the ranks together. We were captains at the same time. I don't know if we were sergeants at the same time, but I remember commiserating over at grilling and chilling about all the problems of law enforcement, how we're going to solve all the problems of the world. I also distinctly remember this back in my law enforcement days. He was a very early adopter, as we all know, of social media. And a lot of us in law enforcement were like, what the hell are you doing? You know, we've got all kinds of stuff out there. We've got all these secret tactics and stuff. You can't share all that. But he really was a pioneer in social media. And looking back on it now, I think he did a marvelous job and really opened up to a ton of chiefs across the nation through the FBI Academy and your exposure there to get people more involved in social media. And then I sat up here for a little while. It was pretty interesting, and he was a great chief, and he really made our job easy. He was probably one of the only people, one of the only departments that didn't come in asking for any staff and walked out with extra staff. So,
It's a gift.
It worked out really well. And then now at the Board of Supervisors, I have a unique opportunity to still interact with the chief in the city, and he's maintained those relationships and partnerships. So I really appreciate that, Chief, and I appreciate all you've done for our community, and I hope you stay local and do something else here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who would like to say anything? No prepared speeches? Okay.
You should say something.
I wanted to, on behalf of the police department, we have a tradition here, and we present the retiring officer with a plaque. We take really pride in the shadow boxes, as you know. I'm sure you're interested. You've been. Sure. He's ordered the other ones. He saw how good they look. Right. So we want to thank you. Everybody's talking about the obvious, how great you've been for the community and for our department. And I don't want to take a selfie with you because we've done that before already. You can overdo it, you know.
Yeah.
But I do want to. We do want to present this plaque to you. thanking you for your service.
Fancy.
This is David Lehman Westrick, in appreciation for your service and dedication to the Hollister Police Department and the City of Hollister. As a police officer, August 25th, 2003. Police Sergeant, February 3rd, 2007. Police Captain, December 20th, 2010. And Chief of Police, July 2nd, 2013 to December 30th, 2019.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
Got one more thing.
Oh.
On behalf of our admin staff, the lieutenants and myself, we have a gift for you. Traditional retirement, you get a watch, right? Gold watch?
I didn't get one.
You better not get a watch.
He's funny.
We ordered the skateboard, but it didn't get here on time. There you go. But we have, I know you're familiar with the blue line theme motif. Got you your own
Oh my goodness gracious.
engraved Dave Westrick, Chief of Police, retired
Wow.
watch. We have a whole elaborate box that goes with that. We'll give it to you. But I know you have something prepared. So the last thing we want to share with you is something that when we start in law enforcement, this is our goal, to get through our careers safely, healthy, and to be able to look back and know that you made a difference in so many people's lives. But it's my honor to present to you your retired Chief of Police flat badge.
No, I'm not going to arrest anybody, okay? This stuff stopped at 5 p.m. So these I bought my academy 30 years ago. We had to memorize the serial numbers because the academy class instructor wanted us to learn about teamwork. So when we memorized, and we told the guy, yeah, we got it figured out now. He took all of our handcuffs from us, and they made this big ball of handcuffs, cuffed them together. And there was a stack of these things, right? And the reason why he wanted to do that, because he wanted to teach us that teamwork is more important than the individual. We had to use our teamwork, obviously, to get that figured out. We also had to remember what all the serial numbers were, right? The first time it took us hours to figure that out. But it did each week he would do this. And we figured it out in just mere a few minutes. I couldn't tell you how many times I used these in my career. 3 different departments. Probably thousands of people have these on their arms. Police work isn't about arresting bad guys, though, really. I used to tell people when I was applying for jobs, they asked me, why do you want to be a police officer? I said, I want to drive fast, arrest bad guys, put them in jail, right? And after like 10 or 15 of those, I failed every time. Kind of calmed that down a little bit. But police work isn't about that at all. It's about solving problems. That's it. That's the whole job. Hopefully, I've solved some problems. Hopefully. I have a lot of people to thank. And
I don't have enough time to thank them. But I'll tell you this. I know for a fact that without some of these people in this room here, that I would not be here today. Because they have backed me up so many times and saved my life so many times. I could never be able to pay it back. And hopefully I've done that to others in my career. That's the brotherhood of and sisterhood of law enforcement. It's about solving problems and taking care of each other and making sure you go home every single night. So again, I want to thank the people that have worked with me all these years and have put up with me. I am a pain in the ass, trust me. I really am. I'm a pain in the ass because sometimes I do stuff and I don't tell them. Okay? Sometimes I get in trouble for it. Then I gotta go to Ben Olson's office. And I get busted. And I deserved it. I probably deserved it. Okay? That's the way you are as a chief. Sometimes you just gotta do stuff with your heart and your gut. And that's kind of all I've done here. Always just kind of operate with my heart. There's two things you have as a police officer. You have your head and your heart. And sometimes your head does a lot more work than your heart does. Also part of that problem solving. You heart a lot. And for me, it's been always about that. I've always tried to lead with my heart for this job. You know, I wanted to be a minister before I became a police officer. I wanted to be a youth pastor, right? I really did, okay? But I can tell you that this job, all right, is way more fulfilling for me personally because I think that I've been able to help folks along the way, all right, and positively impact folks along the way. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I know that I know I've made a million mistakes, but I think I've done more positive things than negative things. And for me, maybe that was my ministry was just trying to solve problems. And I don't know. You know, we'll see. I know I enjoyed it. 77-5150, 157-811. That's the serial numbers. 30 years ago. One last thing. My wife is here. I will not call her up. And as you can imagine, my family's here too. Actually, I want to introduce you to him real quick. This is my father right here. This is Landon. My brother is Rick. My wife Liz, of course. My daughter Haley. Grandma Marie. Of course, Kate, my niece. That's them. You know, I told you I was kind of a pain in the ass. I really am. But imagine if you had a spouse and a dad who was all over every kind of media all the time, and you were a teenager, right? Or you were a wife that was related to every single person in the whole county, for God's sake. She really did. Related to everybody. How many people are related to my wife right here? I mean, there's probably... Okay? So unfortunately, what I've done is sort of put our lives sort of all out there, all right? And yes, I got busted at home for that too. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think they're pretty awful. But I've had a great wife and a great daughter. So this last year, in 18, I went to the FBI Academy. Captain Reynoso was the acting chief, did a great job during that time. We all know that. But my wife is home, and she has to deal with my daughter's stuff. She has to go to rodeos. We do all rodeos. She has to take care of the house. She has to feed animals. All these things that my job as a spouse to do half of them, she's taking all of it, right? And then imagine this. I'm off doing, I don't know, somewhere, some school somewhere, or some meeting here till like 1:15 in the morning, for God's sakes. 2 o'clock here. And she's off to take care of the home, right? So when I was at the FBI Academy, my wife's a big pen person, right? She is. She's like a pen freak. I got her an FBI pen, right? Oh, yeah. And so I've held this for about almost 2 years now. Give this to her. The folks that work for me, the police officers, the animal control officers, the non-sworn folks, they work their tails off. They really do, okay? Each and every day. They love this town. They love this community, all right? They could go anywhere else, but they chose this place, all right? All I would ask is that each and every time you have an interaction with them, or sheriff's department, or firefighters out there, that just consider thinking and consider what they're doing for you. They're out there 24/7, all right? Holidays, child's birthdays, all the days that you take for granted that you're off on your vacation having fun, they're here working, protecting you. All I'd ask, again, is that you consider that when you see them out there, interact with them. We've got great folks here, and honestly, I was blessed the entire time I was here. I could not ask for a better staff and a better group of folks to work with, better partners to work with. No complaints at all. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming tonight. Have a great night.
Okay, so this is a little out of pocket for me because I'm a little bit more reserved, and but he's introduced me, so they all know who I am, and plus they've seen me all over Facebook because I hear all the Yeah, so he talked about getting busted at home for putting stuff on social media, and I've been kind of the background character in his career. You know, I'm a little bit shy. I have my little group of friends that I talk to on a daily basis, but not much more than that. But I think, you know, when Jim says he has a unique perspective and you talk about relationships with him, I think I have both of those because I get to see him in the home and I get to see him in the community. And a lot of people, you know, they realize that there's a person at home and there's a person in the community, but I don't see that with him. You guys talk about how great he is, how generous he is, how sweet and compassionate and nice and dedicated. And I see that at home. And, you know, he has a lot of things to do with his work, but he doesn't let that impede with his family time. And he's always trying to make things work, and he's always trying to make time to spend with me. He's gotten so involved with rodeo, he's kind of taken over the position of fatherhood for my dog. That's okay, because I'm going to go off to college soon and she's going to need a buddy. But he's a really good guy, and I haven't been so involved with his community service or his careers because I have my community service of my own. I'm involved with the clubs at my school, but I think I get a lot of that from him. I think I get a lot of his generosity from him and a lot of his confidence. Like right now, I'm gonna pee myself, but sometimes I feel like I need to say something. One last time before the platform is taken away from me, and I just wanted to say thank you for not being two-faced. I know, You know, a lot of the times you think of politicians, you think of people that are involved in the community, and they can put on a great face, and that's great. But it's who you are when you go home at the end of the day, and as long as you maintain that face and that personality and that drive to do better, not only in your community but in your family, that makes them a great guy to lead us.
I'll give you the $100 later.